Yes, hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marianna Kondas. I'm the project lead for the EU-Japan IP Action, and we are here with our webinar of the month to talk about IT tools supporting trademark applications. Now, registering a trademark should not be difficult. It helps you secure exclusive rights to make your product and to market your product, and to help your customers identify your product and to help find it for their next purchase. This webinar is about freely available IT tools that make this process straightforward and help you to register them in a user-friendly manner. It's important for you to recognize which are the trademarks that are already taken and what to watch out for when you make trademark applications. It's also important to know what are the differences in trademark examination practice. For example, at the Japan Patent Office, they do a search for earlier trademark applications and registrations that we at the EU IPO cannot do because we do not have the legal basis for it. So this task is for the representatives and for the applicants to make sure that there are no conflicting earlier trademark rights out there. At the same time, at the EU IPO, we made a lot of work and rolled out a couple of IT tools that we consider very helpful for users to make this search themselves and to make the application themselves as smoothly as possible. And we have two speakers here, one next to me, Wojtek Kropacek from EU IPO, and we have Yugen Sasaki from the JPO. Wojtek will talk about the early trademark screening tool, and Yugen will talk about the JPET that the JPO made available for applicants. Thank you for joining us today. Please, Wojtek, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mariana, and also good morning and good afternoon for everybody who has tuned in. It's great to see many of you has joined this webinar. As Mariana said, this is about the tools that can help you run a search before you apply for your candidate trademark in order to know what risks it may face when you apply for it. So let's start with the early TM screening with the tool that the EU IPO has made quite recently available for the users. I will first tell a few information about the tool and why we have developed it, and then we will go into a live demo and I will show you how you can take advantage of it. I also used, of course, you can take advantage of the simultaneous translation. I also used free machine translation for the presentation. I don't speak Japanese, so I hope this can be useful for you. On the other hand, a disclaimer, I don't really know whether the translation is correct. So I hope, at least together with the original English version, you can get a better grasp of what I wanted to tell you. So the pre-assessment tool, or in general pre-assessment, what it is, the office developed a couple of services that help users to identify potential risks before they file for the application. Because at the EU IPO, once you file for the application, you have to pay the application fee, and that is not reimbursed. So in that case, this gives you the possibility, in other words, to see what could happen during the examination process before you spend the money and before you pay the application fee. We have two deliverables within the pre-assessment, let's say. One is the early TM screening, and the second one is the modality in the EU TM filing. The early TM screening is a separate standalone tool that users are invited to use before they actually go into the filing. But once they are in the filing, we still have this bar and these warnings that can work as a last resort safety net that will perhaps help on the very last moment to realize that there could be a potential issue with the application. Why we have developed this tool? First and foremost is to enable the customers to get as much information as possible before they file and to make an informed decision whether to file for that particular trademark or not. The second reason is to increase consistency and predictability of our decisions, because what we see, the warning that is displayed in our tools for our users, for the applicants, the very same warnings will be displayed for the examiners while examining the trademark. And they will obviously verify whether the warning has a merit or not. And to reduce the risk of deficiencies and refusals eventually. How does this work? So the system performs various checks regarding to trademark acceptability or absolute grounds. And also it searches for conflicts with earlier rights. Therefore, this covers the relative grounds for refusal, and then reports back the potential issues that it has found. We have combined, or we have built this system of checks of what we call a pragmatic approach with a selective AI use. So yes, we do take advantage of AI tools and models, but not everything, obviously, there is AI because it does not need to be. We have 3 sets of checks. One is deterministic, search in a database that was available until now elsewhere as well, but now we have centralized all this search into one tool. Then we have rule-based checks, so those are those where we set the rules, where we want to display a warning or not, because we know what our practice is and we want to obviously inform the users of our practice too. And lastly, we also have some AI-powered checks in those more borderline decisions, let's say, or cases where it can help us establish whether there is actually descriptiveness or non-distinctiveness of the sign. It can provide some semantic suggestions, and when comparing goods and services, it helps us search better for images of earlier trademarks as well. All this is done in quite a delicate way to balance the detection, so where the warning is justified and should be displayed because there indeed could be a risk, and between noise, where at the end the analysis or further analysis and examination prove that the warning was falsely displayed. So we want to calibrate both of the things in order not to overwhelm our users, but at the same time help them as much as possible. For whom this tool was developed? From brand owners, small SMEs, entrepreneurs themselves, marketing specialists to obviously all the lawyers and IP representatives. It is publicly available. Therefore, anybody can use it regardless of the territory, so also applicants and representatives from Japan. Although you may not directly represent from Japan and you will need somebody within the EEA here, you can nevertheless at least run this preliminary search and know already what you're perhaps dealing with before you entrust somebody from the EEA to actually take the formal representation before the office. The tool has been made available as of late October last year, therefore it's quite fresh. And you can find it in this website. You can either now use the QR code, or we will definitely make you available all the link. Also, if you simply share in your search browser, if you search for early TM screening, you will find among the top hits for sure this landing page. And before we head for the demo, the benefits of the early TM screening of the tool are more or less free, or we could group them into 3. First, it is an all-in-one solution in the sense that there are some checks with respect to, for instance, database searches, just as GIs, plant variety denominations, that had been already available before we have published this tool. But now we have centralized all of them at the same tool. So there is one place where the user can go to get all the potentially relevant information. We have added some extra checks that have not been around before at all, and we will see those, for instance, those in relation to descriptiveness of the sign, deceptiveness of the sign, or offensiveness. And also, there is no fee at all for using the tool, so anybody is able to use it free of charge without any limits for searching and so on. And now, let me give me a second to set up, to share my screen and set up the live demo, and I will show you how you can navigate through the tool. All right, so now you should be able to see the screen. What I will try to do is that primarily I'm going to be navigating the tool in English, and then from time to time I'm going to switch using the machine translation into Japanese. This has on previous occasion proved to be quite helpful for the Japanese public. Obviously, if you cannot speak Japanese, then you have to bear with me for the moment that it's going to be displayed there. But I think like this we can cover better, let's say, the audience that we have today. So this is the landing page of the tool itself, and as you see, there is essentially only a disclaimer and a couple of very easy instructions before you can go and search for your trademark. Nevertheless, the disclaimer is quite an important part for us because we have to make sure that the users understand what the EU IPO can and cannot do. So although we are trying to give you and provide you with as much information as possible, you have to bear in mind that this will never be exhaustive. It can never replace the actual examination that the EU IPO will then conduct once you file for the application. It also is not a provision of legal advice, which the EU IPO cannot give either. It is simply an additional information that is best double-checked with IP professional, how to interpret the result and what conclusions to draw. The instructions are quite straightforward. As you will see, the tool is quite user-friendly. You simply have to introduce the trademark details or import an existing file, and then you hit the button and you will see the results displayed on the results page. So I have prepared for this occasion a couple of examples that I would like to show you so that you know how the results look like, what you can expect. So first of all, as in our EUTM filing, you do have to select first and second language. This does not, however, affect the search. Therefore, also the search is conducted, for instance, the search on descriptiveness is conducted in any of the EU languages. Therefore, these are simply for later going into EUTM filing as their requirements for you to file for EUTM. Then you upload the trademark. In this case, I have selected this figurative trademark ramen house with a stylization of the bowl and the chopsticks. The tool will also automatically read and write down the verbal elements, in this case, ramen house. You save your selection. And then you have to insert the goods and services for which you intend to apply the trademark for. And in this case, since this is based on a real example of an application that we have received, this application was filed for restaurants, restaurant services, eateries, fast food restaurants, and so on. So you save the list. And once it's done, here at the right bottom, you click on the button Run Early TM Screening. This is the result page that you will be shown with. As you can see on the left side, you have a few sections. One is potential conflicts with earlier rights, therefore relative grounds for refusal, and trademark acceptability, absolute grounds for refusal. And as you can see, depending on whether there is a risk identified or not, you have also an icon focusing your attention to a certain selection. I will get to the right side in a bit, where the core and the content of this is, but I would like to also give the opportunity for our Japanese audience to take a look at the result page and their section. As I said, here we have relative grounds for refusal, mainly earlier registered trademarks, and here we have trademark acceptability, absolute grounds, and each of them that the tool is checking. We also have, again, here repeated the disclaimer that the notifications that are displayed are purely informative. And as I said before, they cannot be taken as a legal advice, neither they are binding for the EU IPO when it comes to the examination. Then we have some action buttons here that we will check later on. To run an internet search, introduce new trademark. Therefore, if you want to check another candidate, import an existing file when you want to go ahead and restart your previously saved work. You can also download all the results that we will see in a PDF report. And also we have a button through which you can go directly to EATM filing. But mainly, let's now take a look at the first section. I will just scroll down for you to imagine. So this is the first section of earlier trademarks. There we have a section on domain and company names. And there comes the section of trademark acceptability, so mainly non-distinctiveness, but then we have all the others as well. And again, I will simply give a few moments for you to see this in Japanese as well. The order of the sections is customizable, so you can simply drag and drop whichever you want to see as first. And as you can see here, this was the earlier trademark section, domain names. There comes the absolute grounds for refusal, namely descriptiveness and non-distinctiveness, with the others that follow. Now let's go to the results themselves. As you remember, we searched for a ramen house in a stylized figurative manner. Here you can later on as well modify your search criteria or the verbal elements that you used to search. You can also adjust the classes which you want to search, or you can also adjust territorially the scope that you want to search. By default, this is obviously set to all the EU national IP offices, the EUTM trademarks, and the international registrations designating either the national EU offices or the EU IPO. And then you have a table with the results. So as you can see, we have here 4 results. You see all the details of the trademarks, therefore application names, trademark name, the representation. If the trademark is figurative, application date and registration date, class in which the trademark has been registered, the type, the country of origin, applicant's name, and then we have 3 additional columns that we have added ourselves. First one is an information about inter partes proceedings, namely opposition, where the blue icon says the number of times this particular earlier right has been used as an earlier right in EUTM, in EU IPO opposition proceedings. What does this mean? That this Spanish national trademark ramen house has not been used as an earlier right against any other EUTM application. And then the yellow one, which is only available As you can see, it's not available for the national marks, but it is available for EUTM because the yellow icon displays the number of opposition that particular earlier trademark received when it was at the examination stage here at the EUIPO. So as you can see, this House of Ramen by Sushito has not received any opposition notice within the opposition period. Another important button is the comparison of goods and services, which opens a new window that gives you an opportunity to compare each of the goods or the terms that you have introduced for your candidate trademark and compare them with each and every good of the earlier trademark that you have selected. This, depending on the list, of course, can take a few minutes, but then as you can see, we have results for restaurants in our trademark and services for providing food and drink. Now, either we have the result already from our similarity tool, and it will display identical, similar, or unknown, or not similar. Or when this is missing, this is where we use an AI because it can give you conceptually similar terms and how they would be seen. And as you can see, to restaurants, conceptually similar is restaurant services, which, yes, that's correct. And restaurant services have been found to be identical to services for provision food and drink. So with this, you can already have an idea about the similarity of the main term, let's say, or you can as well adjust your application slightly to in accordance with these results. You can also download this into a PDF. And before the PDF will download, I will also give a few moments to display this information in Japanese. As I said, this is where you can, these are the terms that you have introduced, and you can click on them to compare this particular term that you have selected with each and every of the terms, one by one, of the earlier trademark, with the appropriate result. When there is no result, there can be, not always there is, but there can be this help of conceptually similar terms, which can give you more guidance into what to expect when comparing the main terms. Meanwhile, we had the report was downloaded. So the same as you have seen here can be downloaded into a PDF. Okay, now it's on, where you have your selection, where you have the earlier trademark with which you're comparing, and then you have the list of comparison, each term of your selection with each term of the earlier trademark. I will also show this quickly in Japanese. So again, this is the report of only the comparison of goods and services. Here we have our candidate trademark. Here we have the earlier trademark with which we are comparing the goods and services. And what follows is the list of each term of each trademark compared together. Now, back to the tool. So this was the section on earlier trademarks, which is for sure one of the most important one. As I see that we have some 10 minutes left, I think I will go briefly through those that are perhaps usually of a lesser interest. We also have the section of domain and company names, where we check currently 4 top-level domain names, that is .com, .org, .eu, and .net, We are planning to incorporate more, especially those top level domain names of each country, European Union country. This has double meaning, a double purpose, let's say. One is to let the applicant know in case they have not yet secured their domain names, which of them are available, but also to check those websites because, as you know, the use of a trademark on that website can also amount to a right of an unregistered trademark in opposition proceedings. For the company names, the user has to conduct themselves the business search in a register, but you can do so as facilitated through the link put here. Another important section, the most important, at least statistically, when it comes to examination of the trademark from absolute grounds perspective, is the non-distinctiveness, which in this case, of course, includes also descriptiveness. So we have searched for ramen house with the stylization of the bowl and the chopsticks for restaurants. And so as you can imagine, this application could be refused, as well pointed out by the tool in the warning, that because it contains the verbal elements that could be found non-distinctive or descriptive for some or all of the goods and services. However, since we have searched for a figurative trademark, and the tool currently cannot assess distinctiveness of figurative elements, we only notify that this result is provided without taking into consideration those figurative elements, and they will be considered when in examination. Therefore, also the section is now flagged in yellow, let's say, and not red, because there are still some elements that the tool has not assessed. I will give a few moments as well to display the same in Japanese. In the other sections, as you can see, they are by default collapsed. That means that we have, or the tool has not identified any potential issue. Therefore, not to obstruct the view, it has been collapsed. But we do have one more, which is a similar decision of the office in terms of AG examination. And since I already told you before, this was based on a real case that we have examined. It has found the actual case that we received. Once the user has seen the results and either assumes the risk or the page does not, or the tool has not come up with any risks that the user identifies as obstructive, you can also go to EUTM filing directly. And since you have already inserted the trademark details and the goods and services and the language selection, we will also migrate already this information in the EUTM filing tool. So to save time, and once it's loaded, you will also see what I spoke about earlier, that even in the EUTM filing, we still have a section, a panel on the right side that informs you about the risk as sort of a last resort before you file and before you pay the application fee. Okay, so as I said, we have already selected the languages, we have our trademark, we have the goods and services. And here on the right side, you can see a panel of pre-assessment in which you can see the warning on non-distinctiveness that we have seen also in the tool itself. And we also see a reduced version of the earlier trademarks section. Here it is reduced to an exact match because we don't really have a lot of space to display the results. So we have only limited this to trademarks that are identical in the verbal elements to the searched one. and as well the similar decision of the EU IPO on the absolute grounds in the earlier case. Sorry, this broke a little bit, but now you can see it. You can see it in Japanese as well. So as I said, now here on the right side, we have the panel with the displayed results. And just as we had in the standalone tool in the early TM screening, in this panel we have the same warnings, namely the one of non-distinctiveness, ramen house for restaurants, the one on earlier trademarks, reduced to exact match between the marks. Therefore, we have only one as compared to the 4 that we had in the tool, and also the similar AG decision. But this obviously depends on the results that you search. And since we have some 4 more minutes, I would like to as well show you a different case that I prepared. In this case was to show you the other warnings that the tool can provide. In this case, we are searching for the word mark Nagano for wine in class 33. And as you may know, Nagano is a region that is famous for wines and is also protected for wines, at least the denomination. So here we have 2 results in the conflicts with geographical indications, where the tool has conducted a search in the GI view, which is the source of this information, the database behind it, and displayed the appropriate result. I will show the same in Japanese. And as you could see, of course, all the other sections are still running. Therefore, if there were any other hits, just like the one in here in the earlier trademark section, because it contains the word Nagano, it will display. And one more case that I have prepared, and as well one that we have received in the office, was the term or the word mark Yakuza owner for goods and services in class 9 and 42, but mainly related to gaming and game software. And at least from the perspective of the EU consumer, there is a problem in the term, as you will see, in the term Yakuza, because that is also to a EU consumer known to be a terrorist organization. And therefore, applying for the sign may be liable to an objection and refusal based on morality and public policy. The same information in Japanese. And I think with that, I will end the demo. I will thank you very much for your attention. We will check if there are questions or later on, Marianne will tell you.
Yes, thank you, Hoita. This was a very informative presentation full of very useful references for mainly Japanese audience. Now we will take questions. We have some good questions in the chat already. We will take them after this presentation that is coming from the Japan Patent Office about their search tool, the JPLAT. Please feel free to put questions in the chat during this presentation as well, and we will address them after this presentation of Yugen. Please, Yugen, the floor is yours.
はい。聞こえておりますでしょうか。
Thank you
特許
very
庁
much.
国
Am I
際協力
being
課の
heard?
佐々木と言います。よろしくお願いします。
This is
で、
Yugen
私から
Sasaki
は、
from the
日本の
International
商
Cooperation
標
Division of the
検
JPO, the
索
Japan
サイ
Patent
トである
Office. And I would like to offer a brief explanation of JPLAT, the Japan's trademark search form. Our Japanese users may already be familiar with this tool, and hence today's presentation material is in English for the benefit of our overseas participants. JPLAT is a free online database that has been launched in March of 2019. It is operated by IPA, a JPO-affiliated organization. And JPLAT is a database of publications, procedures, and examination records related to domestic and international patents, utility models, design, trademarks, and appeal decisions. Approximately 180 million such publications can be searched by document number and keywords. We provide documents and progress information related to the examination and judgment process very promptly, generally on the next business day after receipt and issuance, and employs a simple and intuitive user interface. We will go over the basic search method using JPLAT. You can set the screen to either English or Japanese by the button located at the top of the screen. Click English to display all items in English. The English version provides information in the amount equal to that offered in the original Japanese version. Not only is the initial interface in English, but so too are the details of the search results. Select trademark to display various trademark search functions. And today we will introduce trademark search. In trademark search, you would enter trademark names, pronunciation, to search for trademark filing and registration information. Please note that pronunciation must be entered in katakana characters. For designating goods and services, one can narrow down the trademark search results using similar group codes. In this example, we want to know if JPLAT has been filed or registered as a trademark for printed materials. So we enter the code for similarity group code in the similar group code 26A01. Under the Goods and Services section, the similar group code is the code used by the JPO in trademark examination to estimate the similarity of goods and services. Goods and services with the same code are treated as similar during examination. In the example on this slide, the goods in Class 1, chemicals, and Class 2 share the same similar group code, 01A01, thereby treated as similar goods. In Japanese trademark search, the similar group code can be used to efficiently and accurately search for the existing trademarks in the relevant goods and services field. Furthermore, in addition to the trademark name and pronunciation, the search target can be narrowed down using search options such as trademark status and trademark type. Regarding the search results, click the link for the registration number of the trademark you want to check the details for. Then, the trademark application and registration information screen will be displayed. This screen displays information such as the trademark application date, registration date, right holder
検索
name
した
and
キーワー
designated
ド
goods
は
and
ハイ
services.
ライトされる仕
The
様となってい
search
ますの
keywords
で、
are
今
highlighted.
回検索キーワードとして
And
選択
hence,
した
the keyword
26A01 がハイライト表示されてい
26A01,
ます。
as you can see, has been
英語
highlighted.
版では基本的に
In the
商
English
品に関す
version,
るすべての情報
basically
が
all
機械
information
翻
is
訳によって
displayed in
英語で表
English
記されます。
by machine
英
translation.
語表記であっても、日本語版の情報と
The
は
English
異な
version
く、
offers
同等の情
information
報を提供しています。
equivalent to the original Japanese
英語はあ
version.
くまで参考訳となります
The
が、
English is
ユ
provided
ー
for
ザー側
reference
で誤
only,
訳を発
but if
行
the
した
user
場合、
finds, say, a
該当箇所
mistranslation,
をインピット
there
へ
is a
報告で
form
きるフォームも用意しております。
where the
ま
mistranslation
た、
can be reported to input the operator,
Details と書かれたボタンを押すこと
and
で
click
経過情
details
報を
to
確認する
check
こともで
progress
きます。
history records among other items.
ディテールボタンを押すとこの画面が表示されまして、経過情報、出願時の情報、登録時の情報が確認できます。経過情報では、どの時期にどのような書類が特許庁から発送、あるいは出願人から提出されたのか、確認ができます。具体的に特許庁から出願人に発送された書類の中身
Details on the
を知りたい場合
documents sent
は、
from the
日本語版の
JPO
み
to the
かつ
applicant can be
2012
viewed,
に限定
but
されま
limited
す
to
が、
Japanese
一
and
部
for
の書類
documents
に関
from
して確認ができるように
2019
な
and
りました。
onwards.
また、商標検索ですけども、出
It
願
is
番号
also
や登録
possible
番号
to search
が
for
事前に
information on
分
a
かっている
specific
場合は、
trademark
特定の
if
商標の情報
you
に
know
関
the
して、
application number
確認したい場合
or
ももちろん使うことがで
registration
きます。
number.
こちらのスライドの例では、商標の登録番号から、検
This
索
is an
する
example
ケース
using the
になりま
trademark
す。
registration number.
ここら辺のスライドは、すで
In
に、
these
先ほどの例
slides,
でご説明したものと同じで
I've
すので、
already
割愛い
gone
たしま
over,
す。
and therefore I will refrain from
で、また、特許庁では、
explanation.
2024年4
Furthermore, the
月、
Japan
一
Patent
手付施
Office
行の、改
introduced
正商標法によって、一定要件
under
の
the
もと、
revised
商
Trademark
標の併
Act,
存登
which
録を
came
認
into
め
effect
る、
on
いわ
April
ゆるコンセント
1st,
制度を導入しました。
2024, a consent system.
コンセント制度によって登録された
This
商標の
permits
情報に関しても、J プラットパッドで確
the
認ができま
concurrent
す。
trademark registration under certain
特
conditions
許
and
庁の
can
コンセント
be
制度では、
viewed on
先行登録
JPLAT-PAT.
商標権者の
Under
承
the
諾を
Japan
得て
Patent
いて、
Office's
か
consent
つ、
system,
先行登録商標と
concurrent
出願商標
registration
との
can be
間で
granted
混同が
if
生ずる恐れが
the
ないものに
consent of
つ
the
いて
prior
は、登
registered
録
mark
が認
holder
められ
has
るこ
been
ととな
obtained
ります。
and there's no risk of
制
confusion
度の詳細
between
に
the
ついて
prior
は、ホームペー
registered
ジで公表し
trademark
ておりま
and
すの
the
で、
new
商標審査基準、
application.
具
For
体的に
details
は、
of the
商
system,
標法
please
第
refer
4
to the
条、
Trademark
第4項の部
Examination
分をご覧
Guidelines,
ください。
Article 4, Paragraph 4 of the Trademark
J プ
Law
ラットパッ
published
ド
on
に
our
話を戻します
website.
と、先
Now
ほど
return
の
to
商標検
JPLAT
索
Pat
の
by
サーチ
checking
オプション
the
画面にて、コンカレントレジストレーション
concurrent
by
registration
consent
by
という欄があ
consent
りますの
check
で、こ
box
こを
on the
チェックいただ
search
きます
option
と、
screen of the trademark search
現在特
mentioned
許庁におい
earlier,
てコンセン
one
ト
can
制度によっ
view
て
a
対
list
存
of
登録さ
trademarks
れ
that have
た商
been
標一覧を
concurrently
確認することが
registered
でき
with
ま
the
す。
JPO under the consent system.
こちらは一例になりますけども、赤線
This
部
is
分
just one
にコンセン
example,
ト制度によっ
but as
て登
underlined
録さ
in
れた
red,
旨が
there
商
is
標の商標
indication
登
of
録として記
concurrent
されていま
registration
す。
subsequent to consent given as detailed information.
なお、コンセント制度によって
You can
登録された
also
商標に
check
か
the
かる
information of the cited
登録
prior
査定の
trademark
書類をご覧いただき
in
ま
the
すと、
search result
引用され
document
た商
for
標の情報
trademarks
も確認ができ
registered
ます。
under the consent system.
次に、J プラットパッドの日本の周知、著名商
Next,
標
we will
検索の機
introduce
能
a
に関してご
function
紹
of
介
the
します。
JPlatPat's Japanese well-known trademark search.
J プラットパッドの、初めのインターフェースにて、
From the
商
initial
標に関す
interface,
るタブから、ジャパニーズ
select
ウェル
the
ノントレード
Japanese
マークサー
well-known
チ
trademark
を選
search
択い
from
た
the
だきます。
trademark tab.
そして、全件
Then,
一覧
by
ページをク
clicking
リックい
on
た
the
だき
View
ます
All
と、 過
items,
去に、
you can check
異議の決定や、
registered
審決、
trademarks
判決
that
に
have
お
been
いて、
recognized as well
周
as
知、著名と
known
認めら
or
れた商
famous
標などが
in
確認
past
できます。
opposition decisions, trial decisions, and court rulings, also those
続い
registered
て、
as
J
defensive.
プラットパッドの、不
Next, we
登
will
録商
introduce the
標検索の機能に
unregistered
関して、ご紹
mark
介いただき
search
ます。
function on JPlatPat.
J プラットパッドの初めのインターフェースにおいて、
In the
商
initial
標に関
interface
す
of
るタブから
JPlatPat,
Unregistered
select
Mark Search
Unregistered
を選
Mark
択して
Search
一覧表
from the
示をクリック
Trademark
します。
tab and click View List.
そうしますと、商標法第4条におい
Article
て、商
4
標
of the
の使用登
Trademark
録
Law
を受けることが
stipulates
できない商標を、
trademarks that cannot be
規定しております
registered
けども、
And this function will allow you to identify marks that are not eligible for trademark registration here in Japan. Specifically, this includes national emblems and other symbols of countries that are members of the Paris Convention, members of the World Trade Organization, or contracting parties to the Trademark Law Convention, as well as marks indicating the place of origin of wine from WTO member countries. Finally, we will introduce a goods and service name search function of JPLAT-PAT. On the initial JPLAT-PAT interface, select Goods, Service, Name Search from the Trademark tab. Enter the name or keywords of the goods services you wish to apply for and perform a search. Then, you will be able to see a list of goods and services accepted by a JPO, which include the entered name or keywords. Due to time constraints, we have only been able to provide an outline, but for more detailed instructions, please do check the JPLAT-PAT website, where an English manual is also available. I would like to conclude my explanation. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Yugen. It's wonderful to hear about this tool and all the interesting searches that you can make on the JPLAT-PAT. For example, this well-known trademark search. It's quite unique to Japan, so it's important for European applicants to bear in mind that Japan is also examining well-known marks outside of Japan. Now I have some questions in the chat. Please feel free to ask in Japanese as well. We have some tools so we can translate them. I will address first the ones that we already have in the chat. And then we take any questions you put in the meantime. So the first question. It is my understanding that the EU IPO provides a search report upon the applicant's request at extra fees. However, one of my clients has received a search report for their international registration designating the European Union. Is there any practical change? There is no practical change. We do the search report. For international rights, you have to request this search report 1 month of the date of notification of the international registration. And it's free of charge. We don't charge anything for search reports anymore. We used to charge for national search reports, but we no longer do national search reports. So all this is free of charge. Now, it might be that you inadvertently clicked the button and you asked for this search report. If you have any issues, I will put in the chat our customer care mailbox, and you can ask them or you can discuss with them what happened. At the same time, it's important to know that these search reports are informative and they are not legally binding. So please take them with a pinch of salt. They can help you decide whether to go or not with the application, but they are by no means a decision by the office. So that was about the search report. Now, I have a few questions, and I think, Vojta, it's more about the tools.
Yeah, please. I can address those. So we are working with a translation, so I hope that worked well. There are 5 questions in total, so let's break it down one by one. The first one runs, when conducting a search, should the goods entered follow the exact wording used in the original specification at the time of application, or is it sufficient to use keywords? So the best for the use of the tool and for you to have the most relevant results is to search for or with goods that you intend to apply for. When you say original specification, I assume that means your home registration perhaps in Japan. So definitely you can take those, obviously translate it into, because the tool does not work in Japanese, so you will have to translate it, let's say, in English and search for it in English. What you can also do is the keywords you can use, and you can search for already pre-approved terms of goods and services. And like this, you are sure that you will not have a classification issue when you apply for the trademark. But both is possible. Of course, advisable is to use it as you will want it to register, because then you know better what you're dealing with. The second question was the similarity between goods and trademarks, as well as their distinctiveness, varies depending on the goods. Is this taken into account, or is the search applied uniformly across all goods? So here I think we have two answers, because one, you're referring to a search of earlier trademarks, and the other one, perhaps distinctiveness themselves, the terms. So when you search, as we did for ramen house, for restaurants, the results displayed for distinctiveness, or non-distinctiveness in this case, was taken into account, of course, the goods and services, the restaurants. So that's why the tool provided the information that this may be found non-distinctive or descriptive. When it comes to the earlier trademark search, there the tool returns the earlier trademarks that are registered in the classes selected. And then it's on the user to, well, with the help, as we have seen, of the comparison of goods and services, but it's on the user to conclude whether these would then be similar to the extent of a likelihood of confusion, for instance. Yeah, so the tool does not give you the conclusion, but gives you the pieces of information. It returns the trademarks that could be relevant. It can help you compare the goods and services of your candidate trademark with the earlier one. But for the overall, let's say, conclusion on likelihood of confusion, that is on the user to make, or obviously on a representative. The third question within this one is similarities between goods and services often transcend class boundaries. Is this taken into account? So again, in the search of earlier trademark screening, no. You see what you're searching for, just as we did. We had restaurants in class 43. If you consider that you want to know whether there are application softwares for restaurant services and booking tables and so on, then you have to add manually class 9, class 42, for instance, and adjust the search like this. And in that case, it will also return all the earlier trademarks that have been registered within these classes. This is already, I think, getting also into the question 4, which is, you explained the trademark registrations in the EU member states are also searched. Does this apply only to active registrations? Exactly, it does. So either registered or applied for. And the last one, I do not, or at least within this set, I do not fully understand the criteria regarding misleading nature. It would be grateful if you could provide some specific examples. So in practice, the office, you can find this in the guidelines in the appropriate section on deceptiveness. But for instance, the office considers if the sign contains the term leather, and you will be applying for imitations of leather. Well, imitations of leather cannot be leather at all. So in that case, we assume deceptiveness, and we would object such trademark that contains the term leather. Or for instance, coffee and tea are very often misled or confused by consumers because they are sold next to each other, the packaging and so on. Therefore, if your trademark contains, it would be ramen coffee, and you apply for tea, you would run a risk to get an objection on deceptiveness. Now, the criteria of the tool, because of course we cannot just simply say to the tool, go and study the guidelines and then assess the risk yourself. The tool is much more rudimental in this because currently it works on a blacklist, because we do know our practice and we do know what we refuse. It is run on a blacklist where for each term we have the list of goods and services that we would refuse. So for instance, we have a list for coffee, and that contains coffee substitutes, tea, cocoa, and so on. And then we have a list for leather, and it contains imitations of leather, and so on. So this is how the tool works. But if this was more related to practice, then the guidelines are the best place to check our practice on. Meantime, we have received some more questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let me, yeah, we just received them. Sorry, I will. Give me a minute to chotomate. I will translate it. Okay, I believe you need to register your profile before using early trademark screening.
That's
it
correct.
seems you also need to enter your address, but Japan is not listed as an option.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to receive a manual regarding profile registration at a later date.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we can provide the manual, of course. The use is not limited, but requires this option because then the tool is linked to our EUTM filing option directly, and that's where you would anyway have to insert those data so that you can apply for the mark. So I will search into the options that you have, or anybody actually using the tool from Japan would have to take advantage of the tool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, very practical. And
Yugen, would you like to comment on these questions as well?
マリアンナ、ありがとうございます。これいただいて
Thank
る
you
質
very
問は
much.
基本的には
In terms of questions I've received,
ボイドさんにご紹介いただいた EU の
basically,
に関してのご質問になろう
it
と思いま
pertains to, of
すの
course,
で、
questions
私から
pertaining
は
to the
特に
EU
コメント
tool,
は
and
できない
therefore I do not have any
はい、ということで。
particular questions on the questions that we have received. Thank you.
Well, in that case, I think everybody is clear on the JPLET. The users connected are probably more aware of the search functions. And I don't
there's
think
one
we
more
have,
now.
Oh, there is no. Okay, let's
Could
see.
you tell, it's in English, could you tell me how rate the applied for marks are objected for descriptive non-distinctive issue, especially for international registrations based on Japanese registration?
I don't know if we have statistics on the distinctiveness. No. I remember something that.
I mean, our objection rate in AG examination is around 8%, but that of course includes any application, including international registration. So I don't think I do not, at least at the moment, have the statistics specifically for this subset.
Yes, we can follow up on this. We have more issues with the classification and less of an issues with descriptiveness. But we can follow up on the statistics. We will answer all these questions in writing and send it all to the participants of the webinar because some already disconnected before when we got to the questions. So we will make sure that we inform everybody about the questions. Yes, let's see if there are no more questions. I would like to thank everybody. Yes, let me put in the chat the contact details of, first of all, here is the tool for the early trademark screening. And here is the tool. Here is the link for the JPLET. And please, if you have any questions, you can always contact us at the EU-Japan IP Action website. And we will make sure that you have the reply. So thank you very much, everybody, for your attention. And thank you very much, Vojta. Thank you very much, Yugen, for your contribution. And we look forward to welcoming you for our next webinar, which is on the 14th of June. And it will be about invalidity examination, so design invalidity examination at the EU IPO and also in Japan. So please make sure that you connect for that one as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.